See what happens.
Yeah, what the hell? Well, I'm absolutely, completely convinced that we're not going to have a summer.
I'll tell you what. You look at the long range, even then it's not going above 60 till like maybe next weekend.
I'm completely
Damp and
convinced.
stuff.
It's terrible.
They say there's an outside chance of frost again next Wednesday morning.
It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable.
I got 49 as we're sitting here on May 7th.
Well, I got 50.
Well, you got 50?
I got 50. All right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
From your house to my house, I could see a difference in 1 degree.
Yeah.
I could. I gave up. I'm like, you know what? I might as well just fuck it. We'll just go right into fall. Yeah, my wife comes home every day and checks her sunflowers, and she doesn't say a whole hell of a lot about it, but she just kind of walks in and just like walks right past me and kind of goes on her way. And I'm thinking, yeah, she's pissed. She's not happy.
No, I would imagine not.
She lives for her sunflowers, her little garden. You know, she has those on one thing, and then she has all her herbs going. And man, I thought for sure, was it this morning or yesterday morning? By the time I got down the Y, it was 34, 36 degrees, something like that. And I'm thinking, holy shit, we had a frost, and all her shit's dead. And I'm going to hear about it like you wouldn't believe. You know, apparently that's as far as it got, thank God. But boy, it was scary there for a minute. I was nervous.
Yeah.
So what the hell? We'll just go right in the fall. We had a week of summer.
We had a week of, yeah.
You know, a week of anything positive at this point is a good thing. So we'll take it. It's going to suck for you. Golf's going to suck.
Tell you what, it's going to be next Wednesday. They're saying 60.
Well,
which
you could do 60.
Yeah, you know what? Years ago, we used to do anything. I remember playing when the snow was still melting on the sides of the fairways, under the trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was years ago. Things change. We get older. So let me tell you a story before we get going. Well, my department is changing locations. Okay.
Your what? Your department.
Yeah, we're changing locations. We're leaving downtown and we're going out to Shenango.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the pad that you have to read your handprint, whatever you punch in, is there's 3 of them, one at each building, but they're not networked. They're not connected. They're standalone. Okay, they're the same thing. They're the same product, but they just don't communicate with each other. So if you're in one, there's a good chance you're not in the other. So everybody that's down on Moravia Street is, and then the one on Elwood Road. In order to do this, you need an admin, somebody with an admin account to put their hand on there, and you can put in your code and it transfers you over, or just basically what it's doing is just setting up a new one. The only admin we had for this quit in December. He's gone. He left in December. No one thought that maybe having a second admin or anything was a good idea. You know?
Well,
So there's that.
here's a question for you, because boy, if it's not true, I tend to think it's not. Maybe partially, it's how well the propaganda machine works. They're claiming unemployment rate went up today by what, a tenth of a percent?
Um,
Job
yeah,
numbers weren't quite as good as they thought, but they were okay.
they were okay. Yeah, they weren't great, but
Um,
they were okay.
Yet people are bitching they can't get enough help. But if the unemployment rate's 6% and black and minority rates are even higher,
Well, they always
they're
are.
claiming that this extra 300 a week is making people stay home. My response is, in most states, if you were laid off and getting unemployment, if you get called back and refuse, you lose it all.
Yeah, you lose it. Yeah, because your employer will send it into the state that we called them back. They refused.
Yeah, and South Carolina and Montana just are refusing the 300 extra now and taking it off starting in the next week or two.
It's frightening how much they want to play games with people. You know that.
And my contention is, in more seriousness, there's a lot of factors. One of them being, what is it, 2 million plus women left the workforce, and another 64,000 women left the workforce last month.
Well, no shit. The kids are still home.
Kids are home, they have to be taken care of. So there's a lot of those numbers. Plus, if you aren't vaccinated yet and you are in the leisure, entertainment, restaurant industry, do you want to go back to a bunch of troglodytes that aren't wearing a mask
I
and
wear
try
masks. Right. If my choices are staying home and collect unemployment,
it? What
even with or without the $300, right? With or
the
without,
national server rate is still what, 265 an hour plus tips?
plus tips.
So
And
that
now
kind
how
of
much?
that kind of tells me that if 300 bucks a week makes that big a difference, wages suck
We just suck. Yeah.
for
Don't
vast.
forget those tips. Now the employers make sure that you share them across the board, right? So you give your server a $5 tip, depending on how many other people are working. They ain't getting that whole $5, right? And if you get somebody like somebody who has a restaurant a little north of you and me, they just keep the tip altogether.
Yeah, they should be arrested for that shit. Wage theft. They estimate the wage theft in that industry is actually astronomical.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Every time we go out, Lisa and I, every time my wife and I go out, and honestly, it doesn't happen very much, which is unfortunate. But every time we go out, we always try to bring cash with us for to tip the our server. We'll pay for the meal with our card, with our debit card. But the tip we always leave, or we try to anyhow. We're probably at a good 90% clip. We leave the cash on the table for the server, especially if they're good, because they deserve it. They're busting their asses. But think about it, Lou. Who pretty much populates that industry, right? It's either college kids or single parents.
Single
Usually,
parents, a lot of it.
usually moms, right? I'm a single parent. By definition, I have a child someplace. You think I'm bringing that shit home with me? Because I have an asshole employer who won't kick people out or won't tell them they can't come in without a mask. I mean, are you going to do that? If you're a single mom, are you going to do that?
No, she isn't going to
No,
want to be stressed for that.
no, hell no, they're not going to want to.
Not only putting up with that, but harassment half the time from pigs.
Right. Hello, Gersel. How are you? Thanks for joining us. I wouldn't do it. Well, I'm not. I'm not going to. I'll be honest. Right. We have a new mandate as of tomorrow. Uh, you know, my second job over at the YMCA. You know, you have to have. Let's say if you're on a treadmill, right? And we have rows of treadmills, right? You have to every other one is there's a sign on it that says you can't use it, basically, right? Those all come down as of tomorrow, right? All the distancing with the sinks in the locker room. There's 3 sinks in the locker room. You can use the 2 end ones, but the one in the middle you can't use. You can use that now. So this whole idea of like every other piece of equipment or whatever it is, that's all gone as of tomorrow, right? And the Y is federal or state funded or state mandated. So this is what the state's doing, right? They're not doing this on their own. They have to follow the guidelines. So we're slowly starting to get out of this funk, this mess. Do you think it's too quick, or do you think that we should hold on to this a little bit longer?
I think it should be held another month.
Till we start getting some numbers back to
opinion.
see where we are?
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are coming down because people are getting vaccinated. The weather's improving. It should be improving more, but so people are outside more, opening windows, which more ventilation dissipates a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So why not hold it till almost Memorial Day?
It's a good, you know what?
Kids are still in school.
Yep.
What's it hurt to go another 3 weeks?
Yeah, and that was, you know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking the same thing. You know, use iconic things to start getting your point across, right? Don't do it like on like Saturday the 8th of May. Do it on Memorial Day.
Hey, do it. You know what?
You
Hey,
know?
let's do it on Saturday, the start of Memorial Day weekend.
Well, whatever, right? I mean, have
Yeah.
an iconic. Well, in this case, it's a holiday, but you know what I mean. Something everybody recognizes as something special, which normally is Memorial Day, Labor Day, things like that, right? Use that as your barometer. Look at what Biden's doing with pulling the troops out of Afghanistan. When the hell is he doing it? He wants them out by when? 9/11,
9/11.
right? You have a symbolic date or a holiday or whatever you want to call it. So you do it then. Do it then. Give people something to look forward to. Right? So I agree with you. Hold on another 3 weeks. What the hell is it going to hurt? I am still convinced, however, Lou, that we're in better shape than what we're being told, or as far as the restrictions are concerned. And I can't tell you why. I have no data or anything solid to back it up. It's just a gut feeling I have that we have a government and even responsible state governments who are being very cautious about things. They know where the numbers are and where they're trending, and they know what they have, and they're dragging their feet with goodwill. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything nefarious going on. I just think that they're being abundantly cautious with how they're opening things. What do you think?
That's a good possibility. Maybe we don't know the exact numbers a lot of times, so the percentages might be a few points higher in actuality than what they are being reported. You know what? I can see that just because, in the scheme of things, of what happened the last 4 years. I mean, if the last guy would have been on the up and up, said wear a mask, I'm thinking we could have already been open.
Yeah, it's funny. I had that conversation in the locker room today.
I mean, think about it.
Go ahead.
I mean, you wouldn't have had this high incidence as what you had to begin with. The vaccine on top of that would have started even taking it down even quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had an office this week. A guy called. I said, he said, did you have my door ordered? You know, that went on with something else. I said, no, I was waiting for the PO. Well, here he was the only one in the office because the other people had COVID. And guess what? I was in that office a few weeks ago, but I had a mask on, and they were all prancing around with no mask. So who drug it in?
Right.
Because I was only there 5 minutes because I dropped off something they needed. You know.
You've you and your wife are both fully vaccinated at this
Right,
point.
and I had my vaccine full effect. So
Yeah. So you're as far in the clear as anybody on the planet.
right.
You still wear your mask every place you go?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I still wear it when I work out. Right. I still do. And I don't know if you ever seen the wellness center down there, but it's a pretty big room, and there's probably 4 people there whenever I'm there. So whenever I tell you we are so far apart, I mean we have to yell at each other to say hello. I still wear a mask. I still do. I still think it's and you know I've keep saying it over and over again. It's not for my benefit. I'm immunized. You know, it's for your benefit because you know where we live. This ass backwards place. A lot of these idiots aren't getting vaccinated. Right? They're just not doing it. Now we do have a lot that are. Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Shannick branch. I mean, they use the facility for COVID for shots. UPMC uses the facility, and whenever this thing first started, whenever they first started using the facility, they went out the front door, through the parking lot, down Eleanor Avenue, all the way out to what the hell's the name of the road? Mitchell Road. Okay, that's one hell of a line. If you're going from the parking lot at the Y zone all the way out to Mitchell Road, okay,
Yeah,
that's a bit of a jaunt. They were going 1,600 shots a day. Okay. Now, that number has since then significantly dropped because don't forget, we were talking about elderly and people with health issues and, you know, so on and so forth. That it was not to sound ignorant, but it was a very select group of people who were eligible, right? As those restrictions have lifted, those lines aren't all the way out to Mitchell Road now. They're not even out through the parking lot anymore. But they're still going through. They went from going from 1,400 or 1,600 a day to probably half that. Okay, say 700. Well, dude, there's only 35,000 people in this county.
there's about
Or
88,000.
88,000, right? There's 30-some thousand in the city.
Yeah.
88,000. All right, so let's round it up and say 90,000. Okay, just because this math is going to be real simple this way. Let's wrap it up to 90,000. You had almost, well, if you take the average, 1,500 a day over 2 days. So you're at 3,000 a week. You had 90,000 people total. And you're giving shots at 3,000 a clip per week. Now, if you're just taking the people who live here, you ran out of people to give the shot to 2 months ago. Right? But like everything else, it's not geographically restricted. I mean, I was getting my shots in Struthers, Ohio, right? So there's a lot of overlap there. Whenever you have now the younger, and I want to say next week they're going to open it up to 12 and over, because it's 16 and over now, if I'm not mistaken. And now we're going to go to 12 and over. What do you think the chances of us hitting this herd immunity number are?
Well, I was just looking at this because I've seen articles from two different news sources today that said uneven willingness to get vaccinated could affect herd immunity because of the variants. So you may have people immunized and then the variants spreading in between and maybe causing us to need a booster by sometime late this year too.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is this thing's mutating faster than we're immunizing.
Right.
Right.
And it's dropping off quickly right now, just like you pointed out. I think there's a higher incidence among younger people now that haven't been vaccinated, maybe because of variants that are hitting them. They 12 and over, I would say, do need it.
Here, I'm going to make an argument, and tell me if you agree with me or not. Those who are significantly younger than us, right? And I mean, we there's 10 years between you and me?
Yeah.
But I'm talking in their 20s and younger, okay? Let's say 30s and younger. Just whatever, we'll say 30s and younger. I get the feeling that they have a more nonchalant attitude about getting their vaccines. They know it's important, and I think for overall, the majority of them actually want it. But there's not a sense of urgency to get it. So my feeling is you're going to get that herd immunity, or that 70% or damn close to it, whenever you start making it very convenient for these folks to get the shot. Whenever you have booths set up outside of Walmart, whenever you have, I was going to say outside of church, but a lot of these kids aren't going to church anymore. Where people tend to congregate. Whenever you have it readily available there, especially like the J&J one, where it's a one-shot deal, right? You hit it and you're done. I kind of get the feeling that that's where we're going to get these numbers going up. Whenever we can start doing things like this, whenever we can take it to them, instead of telling them they have to come to the shot, they're now bringing the shot to the people, and I think that's where you're going to see an upswing in the vaccines. What do you think? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, there's festivals and stuff that's going to be opening up. Maybe there should be a point to have a setup at these things. I mean, I got a notification for Genesis.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, a great example. Let's throw it this way. One of the biggest concerts of the year, especially in this area, is Jimmy Buffett, right?
Probably.
People love to go see Jimmy Buffett, especially around here. They love the atmosphere. They love the beach balls. They love the whole thing. You go to I don't what the hell is it called now? The pavilion.
I think it's now the pavilion at Star Lake.
Okay, so we'll say Star Lake because you know what I'm talking about then,
yeah.
Right? You go to Star Lake and there's 20 booths sitting there for you to get the J&J shot. You're already there. You're having a good time. There's 20 booths, so there's maybe a 2-3 minute wait. Are you going to sit there and go, oh, what the fuck? Let's just get it and be done with it. I'm already here.
You know what? If the government's paying, you know what? Free shot, free draft, free pop.
Whatever it is. Free beverage, right? If you're over 21, you get a beer. If you're
Coffee
under
or
21, you get a
whatever.
Coke, or a Pepsi, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? How many folks do you think that are at that concert? Although I don't know how many of the youngers are going to go see Jimmy Buffett, but you get my point, right? Something big.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do it? What do you got to lose? What are you going to do? You're going to miss your next beer? No, you're not. You're standing in line with it. You know?
Yeah, put it next to the beer line.
Why the hell not? Look, the next day, even if it hits you and you have that reaction, you're to be hungover anyhow. What the fuck are you going to care? It's just a bad hangover at that point.
Yeah.
Why aren't these are the things we should be doing. Now, maybe it's the fact that we don't have that much readily available. Maybe there are, there are reasons, logistical reasons for it. I don't think ideology is one of them, though. I think just the fact that they just don't have it available is the reason they're not doing it yet. Which is another reason why I think they fucked up whenever they put the J&J vaccine on pause. They never should have done it. They never should have done it. They should have kept it going. In fact, they should have ramped it up. If I can hit you one time, I got the Moderna one, right? So I went twice. You got Moderna too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I promise you, there's a whole lot of 20-somethings and 30-somethings that aren't going to want to go twice. If it's here where I'm at, I'll get it. If it's not, I know I should, but you know what? I got other shit I got to do.
You know what? And the J&J is still more effective than a standard flu shot.
Right. So even if it's not where the Moderna or the Pfizer one is, it's still good enough to get us to that 70%. It's literally, we are literally working on the premise that it's good enough. I think we're totally dropping the ball on a whole lot of shit.
Yeah, I agree.
I really, as much good as Biden has done, as much as he's ramped it up, as much as he's made it available, and as much as we've taken huge strides in order to get this thing under control, we're still dropping the ball in so many just simple, basic ways to do things. Go have a tent outside a supermarket, for God's sake. Everybody needs food. Somebody in your house goes grocery shopping every week, whether it's you, your wife, your kids, somebody's going grocery shopping. Put one out there. I don't get it. I just put one outside of Sheets, for fuck's sake. Who doesn't go to Sheets? Literally everybody I know goes to Sheets. You know?
Sheets and Get-Go.
Yeah. Literally everybody know. And Gecko's even more ignorant because Giant Eagle, their pharmacy, they're giving the shots away. That's one of the places you can go. It's like we're just dropping the ball so much on so many. Still put one outside what are the big restaurants on Friday nights to go to? Los Amigos. Los Amigos. Well, I mean, I could live there. All right, Edwards, and this is just just in our area. Where else? Iron Bridge. Name Paley's on Saturday nights after church, right? Why aren't you having something set up in these places? Or across the street if these assholes don't want to, if they tell you, no, you can't use my parking lot.
You know what? Drive-in church up at the plaza on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, up in Union.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right there. You don't even have to get out of your car, especially if it's the one-shot one. Especially if it's the J&J one, we'll just pop you right there. You're right. You go get communion, and as you're driving out, you get a shot. You get 2 for 1 that way, right? Your body and your soul are both saved. Am I missing something?
Is it too simple?
And why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this?
To me, it's what do they call that? The Occam's razor.
Yeah.
The solution to a problem is often the simplest.
Yeah. Have concerts. I'll tell you a better one. Pick. Okay, I'm just gonna be stupid here, and I'm really gonna show my age and how out of touch I am with the area. What's her name? Who's the Taylor Swift? Right? Back her tour. Have her stop at 10 cities or 20 cities. And guess what you're doing outside in the parking lot?
All young.
Sticking needles in arms. Right? Why not? Why aren't you doing this? She's going to love it because she's going on tour. She's making a shit ton of money and not putting much into it because you're bankrolling it, or at least partially bankrolling it. However, I'll make the argument that most of her fans are probably immunized. You're going to have to get these country and Western assholes that you're going to have to do that to. But you get the point, right? Why not do that? Make it inconvenient for people to not get the shot. Because every time you fucking turn around, there's a goddamn tent that has the shot right there for you. Make it inconvenient to not get it. And that's how you beat this thing. That's how you do it. It can't be.
I can see summer going down, and if you don't have the herd immunization, we're going to be back in it by November.
We very well could. We very well could. I will tell you this much. I saw a pretty interesting article that said that we're sort of bastardizing this idea of herd immunity. And they made a lot of sense. And the idea was herd immunity has to be done on a local level, not on a nationwide level. Okay? I think you're starting to see that here in PA, where if 70% of the citizens of PA, people who are living in PA, are immunized, then we're going to open everything up, right? I think that's where you have to be. You have to look at pick whatever size you want, whether it's your local community, your community as far as the county level is concerned, or maybe even the state level, right? I look at it that way. So let's just say, just for grins and giggles, Lou, that we have 70% vaccination here in Lawrence County. Lawrence County gets opened up, right? Because you're not getting enough people coming through here who don't live here, who is going to significantly impact the numbers of people that are immunized versus not immunized. And I thought, you know what? That's probably the better way to look at this.
The new case count in Lawrence County yesterday was 13. The day before, I believe it was 7. Okay, it's actually been in that range the last week.
Right.
And seriously, you got vaccinated out of the county. I know a bunch of people that also did early on, took advantage of Mercer County, Mahoning County in Ohio.
Yeah.
Lawrence County in itself might be close to that number.
I think we're getting real close.
Just looking at the numbers here, because I know most of the elderly got shots early on in this county.
Yeah, and that's where those big numbers were up at the Y zone with those people that were going all the way out to Mitchell Road. They were all older. They were all seniors. All seniors and their caretakers, almost exclusively.
I got in early because of a caretaker thing. My wife was a healthcare worker.
Yeah. I got in as an essential worker. Right. So I got in pretty quick. Well, I got in, I shouldn't say pretty quick. I got in once, actually, on this show, whenever you let me know that I was eligible. What's the next day? I'm refreshing like a champ. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, this county, even with all the knuckleheads that we have here, is probably really, really close. Probably really close. I still think we should err on the side of caution and make sure that we hit that number before we start just opening everything up as much as everybody wants to. Right? And I keep arguing with people and I keep saying, dude, we've gone through this shit for a year. Don't give up now. Right? We're not within months. Pretty soon it's going to be within weeks. Don't give up now. No one ever, you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. What are you going to do? Stop going through the tunnel now? Are you going to stop? I don't know. But I really do think we're a lot closer than is being reported or they're admitting to or whatever it wants to be. But I can't come up with a good way to verbalize that without making it sound nefarious, right? My man with the hammer's hat. I really think that we are further along than what's being reported or being admitted to. How's that? Right. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
I could not be any better.
What's it like being somewhere in May that's above 45 degrees?
Yeah, tell us what that's like. Because honestly, you got a couple of guys who are pretty jealous right now, okay?
Yeah.
It just skyrocketed here to 51 with the sun out.
Guess what? I'm at 51 right now, too.
Whoa, get the bathing suits out.
Oh, dude, you know what? I'm ready to go swim.
Sorry, you guys are gonna. Yeah, well, that's what May's like because you can get these cold spells, as you guys know. And
What's it like down there? What's your average temp?
today was like 80 something.
Oh shit!
Sunny, nice, a little breezy.
My parents for Mother's Day, my parents went to Vegas.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to tell you what I got here. They just landed. Still on the plane, but we made it. It's in the mid to high 80s. Of course, they're in the desert, but so my parents are in the mid to high 80s. Master Grant, what'd you say you're at?
We were in the 80s today. That's what it is.
You're in the 80s today, and Lou and I are freezing our balls off.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh. Rough.
You know what, Lou?
Guys got to come down here where we've got alligators and pelicans and.
We're doing something, Lou. We're doing something wrong. That's all I know. The only upside to this whole thing is at least I know I'm not alone.
Yeah. Alligators and pelicans, huh? Well,
Actually, Master Grant, I am seriously thinking about taking a trip down your way.
Come on down. Charleston's wonderful. Beaches, historic city, lots of things to do.
Maybe
Golf,
just taking a weekend and mooch off of you for 2 days.
Welcome.
At least
You are
we
welcome.
are talking about it. We are seriously thinking about it. It would be nice after all this shit, just to get away for a couple of days. To be honest, it would be really nice just to, I mean, if we did nothing else but sit on your deck and drink beer.
That's great. Yeah, you're welcome. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
come down here. You can sit in here with me with the.
There you with the Union Jack.
And
Yeah.
West Ham United.
Yeah. There you know what, Lou? I'll be honest, Lou. I'm very happy. Whenever I saw you get on and I didn't see a Liverpool sign behind you, I didn't see that crest. I was like, oh, thank God.
I could print one out.
That's okay. You don't have to. Yeah, I don't want to do that to you. If we can get just a little bit serious for a second. On September 25th of last year, okay? And I know we're going back well, quite a few months, but just hear me out. A federal judge dismissed a defamation case against self-styled Fox News instigator Tucker Carlson. Remember, we're going to go back to the whole Tucker thing, right? The case was brought by former Playboy model Karen McDougal, who alleged she had a 10-month affair with Donald Trump after meeting him in 2006, and since then sold her story a decade later to the National Enquirer. The tabloid ended up just burying the whole thing, right? Tucker's lawyers argued that, in their words, any reasonable viewer doesn't actually believe what Tucker Carlson is saying to be true. It is therefore unreasonable to take what Tucker Carlson says as truth. Yada, 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 yada. Turns out he ends up getting off. Okay? He ends up getting off. His defense was, we're not a news source. Don't treat us as one. Okay? Are you guys with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. Let's fast forward ahead to January 6th. You know, you guys know the fun we had January 6th. Honestly, God, guys, my wife was panicking. Okay? She was like, this is the second Civil War. She was losing her shit. And when Anthony Antonio, who was Anthony Antonio? Well, he was one of the guys who was there during the insurrection. He was one of the rioters. Okay? His lawyers, in a virtual hearing, argued that he was hooked on Fox News and developed, and it was his lawyer's word, Foxitis. This is according to CNN, folks. This is CNN. Antonio, whose lawyer is named Joseph Hurley, said had lost his job at the beginning of the pandemic and for the next 6 months watched Fox News constantly. Antonio developed what his lawyer called Foxitis and Foxmania and believed the lies about the 2020 election from Fox News and then President Donald Trump. The quote was, he believed what was being fed to him. I'm not going to go on and read much more of this article. You can get on CNN and read the whole thing. But we've gone from September to May. And the one thing I keep hearing over and over and over again is Fox isn't legit. They're not a legit source of anything but opinion. Why are they still holding as much power as they have? Why are they still doing it? No one should be looking at that network as anything any different than Comedy Central. And they're admitting it. They're using that as a defense. And these assholes who stormed the Capitol are saying it was Fox that did it to me. So this asshole that stormed the Capitol is positioning himself as a victim of Fox Entertainment. At what point do we sit there and say, you can't do this anymore? You're not a legitimate anything. Change your name.
Well, I would say the FCC guidelines have to be redrawn for them to put something up in the corner or at the beginning and end of every show. This is opinion only, not based in fact. Because right now you have, I mean, basically they're yelling fire in a crowded theater to me in a lot of instances, which would violate the First Amendment. But other than that, are they violating free speech clause?
Master Grant, what is the difference between a, and I'm not trying to be over the top, but what's the difference between Fox News and The Onion? If your argument is we should not be considered a news source, what's the difference between what they're doing and what The Onion is doing?
Well,
Especially when you don't know what an Onion headline and a Fox News headline are anymore anyhow.
It's so hard to tell them apart. I mean, you literally have to look at the source, because if you just look at the headline, you're throwing the dice. Master Grant, what's the difference?
well, here's the thing. I mean, Fox News comes off as legitimate news, and they have a legitimate news buried in all of their opinion pieces. So this is all legalese. They've crafted this very well, and it's got to take like the FCC to come down on them, because what was it yesterday? The Florida governor went on to Fox News and announced that he was signing the bill.
They're registered.
They're blurring the lines. It's not like Comedy Central where Jon Stewart comes in and you get people laughing and you know it's a comedy show. These guys are serious sitting there, Tucker Carlson with his face, scowl, those liberals will take your money. You're going to let them, and people buy that shit and it's, and they believe it like they say. So they're being duped. But what Fox is operating under the law, so unless they change things, nothing's going to happen.
Lou, they are registered in the FCC as an entertainment company.
Yeah, I'm not. You know what? Does the FCC even cover that? Is what I'm asking. With the archaic rules, them being cable, not broadcast.
And granted, but I guess my question is how much of the burden of exposing these idiots for what they are falls on them or on the FCC? Because if all I have to do is register as an entertainment company and I can go ahead and do what I want, they follow the rules. It's slimy as fuck, but they are. You know that going in. Do we have to do something more? Do we have to put a disclaimer up in the corner that says we are Fox News is an entertainment company? Is there something that should be done?
Lawsuits have to be filed against them.
At what point? What needs to be done? What disclaimer has to be put out there? What public service announcement? What PSA has to be put out there to show the world, or at least the country? Because let's face it, Master Grant, you've been on the other side of the Atlantic. How many people watch Fox News over there? They have Sky for that, right? They have Sky for that. It's all Murdoch's bullshit, but it's Sky, right? How much do we have to start putting disclaimers up in the corner of the screen that says Fox News is an entertainment company? And put that on Disney and put that on, ESPN is a sports network? And because people at this point are not capable of telling the difference? How do we handle this? What do we do to show the world that, look, this is where they're registered? They're registered as an entertainment company. CNN is registered as a news source, right? MSNBC is registered as a news source. Fox is registered as an entertainment company. Should there not be something in a corner someplace that shows what their FCC registration is? Should it not be mandated to do that? Or should they do something else? Master Grant, I'm going to hit you with the hard ones today.
Here's the thing. You get these right-wing groups are now using comedy. I hate purple people. I'm just joking. We should all get guns and kill everybody. I'm just joking. That's what these right-wing guys are doing now. And what they say is, well, you could do it on Comedy Central. Why can't we? So they're using this plausible deniability, which is what Fox News does. It's what Rush Limbaugh did. It's what Hannity does. Fucking Carlson. They use that, and then they say whatever the heck they want because they're allowed. Just like, okay, what about Trump? What about Trump being banned on Twitter and Facebook? Is that a good thing? Is that legal?
It's legal.
Going after his personal free speech. Now I know it's because these are private companies, but
right.
These are private companies too. So why can't they say what they want to say? They're within their legal rights.
They are, but they're being broadcast though.
They're within their legal rights unless somebody changes it.
Right.
They can say whatever the heck they want, and if people are too dumb and gullible, which they are, which was proven, but I don't know if there's anything we can do about it except change some laws. And then you got all the Republican idiots gerrymandering the entire country so that the next election it's going to be all Republicans all the time. So there's no hope, at all.
So it goes back to a fundamental question, Lou, and in a way, I kind of wish Frank was on today to. At what point do we start protecting people from themselves? Because how many Master Grant has, is as ass deep in it as we are out here in Mayberry, who take what Tucker says on an entertainment network as gospel. At what point do we start protecting people from themselves? Because they're either unwilling or incapable of doing it themselves. How far do they go? How far do we go to protect people from themselves? As a government, not as a private entity like Facebook or Twitter, but as a government. How far do we go, Lou?
Yeah, that's just, I don't know if that's opening Pandora's box. I mean,
right. Where do we draw the line? And what's the consequences whenever we cross that line? Because there's always a yin and a yang, right, Master Grant? There's always a yin and a yang. What do we do with great intentions, with honest, legitimate, good intentions?
Because you have 40% of the country in an alternate reality that thinks we're living the lie.
Right. Propagated and brought on by this entertainment company that they're taking as gospel, as the truth. Do we just throw up our hands and say, well, you know what? Y'all are grown-ass adult human beings. Or do we sit there and say, look, you're just not willing to accept truth anymore, so we have to step in and show you what the truth is. Not ban it, not ban what you're watching, because if history has taught us anything, as soon as you ban something, everybody's going to jump on board. Right? As soon as you tell me I can't watch Fox News, I want to watch it twice as much as I did before. Right?
Maybe around the critical thinking skills lessons in high school.
Yeah, but that's going to take time.
Yeah, that's how we got here. The long game by them.
How much destruction is going to happen in the meantime? Master Grant, what do we do about this?
Education's the key.
Education's the key.
But short term.
But don't forget, education is local.
Yeah. Like I said, you can't cure stupid. We are living in a country, and here's the ironic part. All these people think they're brainiacs.
I know.
You know, they all think they're smarter than anybody else.
Yeah, I know.
And so I don't know. It's a tough question. Where do you stepping on people's civil rights start?
Right. And here we go. And now we're starting to get into some shit, right? But I think, Master Grant, I think that's more on a personal level. I'm talking like on a national level. Do you think there should be something on just in the top corner or the bottom corner, take your pick of the screen, okay, that designates what their FCC what it would be designation or whatever it is where it like in the screen top screen. Look, I'm trying to figure out where the hell my hand is. Look at this shit. Look at this. This is terrible. Okay, say up here where it says FCC designation entertainment company.
You know what? The way these guys talk,
is that something that should start being mandated with every network across the board? Not just Fox, but every network across the board. Would there be anything wrong with that? ESPN is going to be there as a sports network or whatever the fuck they're registered. I don't even know. Right? Disney's going to be whatever. Fox will be whatever. CNN will be news. I know that for a fact. CNN is registered as a news company. ABC, NBC, CBS, CW. Up in the corner someplace, you know, in that transparent little overlay that they have. Right? Would that be such a bad thing to do? You're just showing what you're registered as. And what's the downside to this? Is there a downside to it?
Yeah, I can. Those people will say, look, government overreach, the liberals are doing this, the left, it's a socialist country. They're infringing on us. And
yeah, but I could argue against that and tell you, well, this is nothing more. I can argue against that and say this is nothing more than transparency. Don't you want transparency?
Yeah, well, I got to get rolling, but let me leave you with this. You'll remember this quote. Charles Bukowski. The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, and while the stupid ones are full of confidence.
Bingo.
Yep.
That is perfect.
Yep. That's it. That's it exactly. That's it exactly. Lou, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. You guys have a good weekend.
Okay, we'll see you.
All right.
Master Grant, I don't know. I'll be honest. I've been playing around with this for 2 days. Do we not want?
Really, it is horribly discouraging. I mean, horribly.
But whenever we've gone to the point where this network, this group of people, are defending themselves by saying we're not really news. Tucker's defense in a court of law was, I'm not a news source. This guy who decided to attack the Capitol building is saying that it was Fox that did this to me.
Yeah. I mean, any reasonable person
doesn't
will
look
at this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And know that these guys are sitting on both sides of the fence. They got they're pretending to be a news organization. They're preaching like they're a news organization. And then as soon as there's consequences, we're not a news organization.
Yeah.
So they've got to, somebody, and the FCC's got to grow a pair of balls and go in there and say, this has got to stop. If you guys want to do a Sean Hannity show, go right ahead. This is it. You got to put up here. This is an opinionated show. This is not news. And you got to take news away from everything.
Right. Right.
Unless your news store is a news source and follow the rules.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't see any other way to do this. But show somewhere, pick a corner, any corner, this one, here, over here, pick any corner of the screen you'd like, and have their registration, FCC registration number, yada, 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 entertainment company. What's wrong with that? That's what they chose to register as.
Mm-hmm.
Change your registration. We'll change the little disclaimer up in the corner. Because it's got to be reflective of what you're registered as. And do it across the board, not just Fox. Do it for everybody. Right? Because in a lot of ways, the left is just as bad. Right? I mean, you watch Joy Reid. There's no news there. It's all opinion. And I love Joy Reid. I mean, she's the only reason that hers, Nicole Wallace, and Maddow are the only three things I'll ever watch on MSNBC because I think they're brilliant. But I also know that they're just opinion pieces. Right? I know their opinion.
You know, we know the right side.
Right.
We really dive into Fox and we know and we rail against them. Now, to be fair, the left does it too.
Yeah. Well, sure.
You know, I would say probably not on the same scale, but they do it too. And then the comments say, well, all of the legit news organizations are liberally biased. It's like, okay. And then they'll go, there's nothing ever negative said about Biden. And it's like, okay, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're a Republican supporter, of course, when the other guy's in the office, you don't hear any negative, right?
Right.
But when it's your guy in the office, all you hear is negative. And it's the same thing if you're a Democrat. When your Democrat is not any, when Trump's in office, all you ever hear is Trump's the greatest guy in the world, right? And it's like, but then so anyway, it goes both ways. What I'm trying to say.
Sure, it does. Absolutely.
Depends on where you stand, and if you disassociate, right, and if you just don't, you pull yourself out, so you don't care, then you can actually see these things going back and forth like that.
You can see the tug of war.
Yeah. And that's part of this, is part of our stupid dual party system setup, which I think, didn't George Washington say don't do two parties on more than two parties?
I don't remember. I know there was something.
Somebody said it.
Yes, it might have been Washington, but yeah, in any case.
Was so right, because it's like, yeah, this is the greatest evil that we have, because now you can just polarize and one versus the other, and it's like, gosh, if we would just fractionalize, then you wouldn't have Mitch McConnell's getting every single Republican in the Senate to just say no.
You and I have screamed for the longest time that the same two things. There should be term limits, and there shouldn't be two parties. There should be 10 parties or 20 parties.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. I mean, you and I have been screaming that forever, right? I either want a representation of everybody, or I don't want this system at all. But whenever you have a two-party system, you're telling people that they have to conform to one or the other. That's not a representative system.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think it's also why people get so hot under the collar about things, because there are no other choices. And so it's like, yeah, there's, Democrats it's the party of Satan.
Right.
And Republicans are the party of the pedophiles. I mean, it's like, yeah, and you get people saying stupid stuff like that. And it's like, okay, no wonder we're like all banging each other in the head. It makes sense now if we had legitimately four parties, right? Legit four parties. Now you've got your far left middle left, middle right, and
And
far
far
right.
right.
And now you got choices. And so people can actually, it just makes things a lot better and
It's more representative.
more representative. And you can't get
Right.
stupid idiots like Mitch McConnell hijacking. I'll never forgive him for stonewalling Obama for a year and not getting that
Oh, I agree.
judge put through.
I agree. I
That is
completely agree.
unforgivable. I hope he burns in hell for that.
Yeah, he should have been impeached for that. He should have been thrown out for that.
Yes.
Right.
Despicable.
Oh no, I completely agree.
Despicable man.
I completely agree with that. The fact of the matter is, whenever we have a two-party system, which we have, you are forcing people to conform to something because they don't have a choice. Okay, and I'll give you a great example. We'll look at Puerto Rico. Okay, I don't know how many Puerto Ricans you know. Together we know a few. I know a few on my own. You probably
I work
know a few.
I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people.
As a culture, some of the most conservative people you'll ever meet.
Okay.
Financially conservative, socially conservative, yada 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 down the road. Yet they're all voting for Democrats because they can't be represented by that other party. So they're stuck with a party that maybe they don't agree with completely. They just don't have any other choice. So they're not being legitimately represented.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. That's a legitimate problem that we're refusing to address. We're just absolutely refusing to address that.
And why?
Because we don't want to give up. Neither side wants to give up the power they have.
That's right.
That's why. That's why. So, you know what? I don't care if you agree with me or not. Are you going to vote for me or aren't you? Because at the end of the day, that's the choice. It's one or two.
Yeah. And then you give
well, it'd be 1 or 0. But
and then you give megalomaniacs like Mitch McConnell the power then to do what he's been doing.
That he shouldn't
have.
have.
Shut down government.
That he shouldn't have.
Yeah, that he shouldn't have.
That he shouldn't have. And it's terrible. It's terrible that we have to put up with this. Okay, and I'll be more than honest with you. That is the biggest reason that I'm an independent. That's the sole reason. Well, I shouldn't say the sole reason. It's the biggest reason. It's because I look at this two-party system and I'm basically saying, fuck both of you. I am a liberal-leaning person, but I'm not going to conform to what your definition of that is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'll conform to it's my definition of it.
You know, the thing is like, okay, you get to your AOCs, right? And I know that she's very polarizing herself, and but we could have what way it should be is if that okay, her and Bernie Sanders, and you know, we all know those guys are, you know, very left leaning.
Yep.
And if that's how you feel, you should go with them. There should be a party for that.
Right.
And then you get your moderate Democrats who are more centralized.
Right, which would be your Joe Mansions and cinemas and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's your now. You see how it works. See how much better it is. Now you're getting choices.
Exactly.
And then you can look like people like the Puerto Ricans who were traditionally who are conservative, right? But they don't want to go this white supremacist Republican route. But and so you got your yahoos like Trump and those guys on the far right, and then you get your middle conservative Republicans who that would be then appealing.
I agree. It is unfortunate, not based on any dynamic at all, that we are in the minority, you and I. Right? because there's no reason that we have to be pigeonholed into one of two categories. We shouldn't have to be. It's not right. I can't tell you how many things that the extreme right-wing people that I deal with every day, I actually agree with them on, that we have common ground on. I mean, not crazy Trumpy shit, but a lot of the things that you're going to see in Western PA, right? That is just part of the foundation of where we live, that we actually agree on. It's almost like we can't admit it.
Not now, no, because we're so polarized. You can't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like like the Democrats, they have those people on the far left screaming bloody murder, and then on the Republican side, you have the people on the far right screaming bloody murder, and you can't talk anymore.
And how the hell are you supposed to get anything done?
Yeah, nobody wants to meet in the middle.
You can't.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Boner. Sorry. I even practiced that today. to not. Okay. Boehner. The Boehner book. Mm-hmm. I like the way he puts that in. You should be able to compromise. You got your feelings, you got your stances, but to get things done, you got to meet in the middle. You got to compromise. You got to give and take. Yep. And that's what we've lost.
How much are you willing to give up right now to get back 6 months, a year down the road? Right? Because if you and I are on opposite sides of the aisle, and you come to me and you say, look, dude, I really need your vote. What do I have to do to get your vote? And I say, well, you know what? I'll vote for you now if you will vote for me whenever I introduce this thing 6 months down the road.
But unfortunately, right now, it's, look, I need your vote. And it's like, I'm sorry, Mr. McConnell said no.
Yeah. Right.
I can't. There's no negotiation at all. Just no.
None.
Nope. And now we're just stuck, stalemate.
Now we're stuck. And things never get done.
Judge for a whole year. He just blackmailed the country. That guy should be thrown in jail. I really believe that. That was what he did. Not only should he burn in hell, but he should be thrown in jail.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that. You know what, Mr. Grant? That's a great place to start.
I'm just fired up now.
Yeah, I know. And now I got to kneecap you and stop you now.
Get me all riled up. Cut me off.
I blame Lou for that.
He's out playing golf in the 45-degree weather.
Right, so he can't defend himself, so I'm blaming him for it. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week on Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Master Grant, you and I have to talk about maybe doing something if this schedule doesn't work out quite right. Okay, because we know Lou's gone on Wednesdays. You and I can have to talk a little bit, see what we can do about doing something, maybe just two of us or whatever.
Tuesdays would be better.
We'll talk. Okay. We'll see what we can do. But we have to get. We should definitely go back old school, I think. But until then, everybody, we will see you guys again next week. Same bat time, like I said, same bat channel. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye.